accused my perfect wife of cheating and asked for a paternity test for our 3 kids. Now, my life is ruined. My wife has brown hair so dark it looks black, blue eyes, and a skin tone that is a couple of shades darker than tan. I have black hair, dark brown eyes, and a skin tone a shade darker than my wife. We have 3 children and none of them look like me or my wife. My boys have brown reddish hair and hazel eyes. My girl is a dark blonde with light brown eyes. They are all on the lighter side when it comes to skin tone. I didn't think anything of it at first. Both I and my wife have some interesting heritage, but from the birth of my sons, my family kept bringing it up to me. They would point out the facial features all the time. Where does that chin come from? Look at those cheekbones. That boy stands as straight as a ruler. Who has hair that straight? Things like that. I shut them down or ignored it all. I never paid any mind to them. Then an old high school friend of my wife's was in town. He was only in town for a couple of days and my wife invited him to our girl's 3rd birthday party. He wasn't at our wedding and I had never met him before even on previous visits. Then there he was. This tall white man with dark blonde hair and hazel-colored eyes. He and my wife were close. They hugged for a long time. The whole time he was there he was wherever my wife was, and me and my family watched them. If she was putting more food out, he was there helping. If she was collecting stray plates and cups and trash, he was there giving a hand. The whole time he was there they were laughing and talking. She introduced him to those who didn't know him but it was obvious he wasn't there to socialize, he just wanted to talk to her for the time he was there. A couple of hours later it was time for him to go. My wife walked him out. They had another long hug before he climbed into his Uber and left. My mother and sister were in my ear from the moment they laid eyes on him. I didn't need to hear their suspicions, I had plenty of my rocking around in my head. I'll spare you all the gory details of my behavior in the weeks following my girl's birthday. I'll only say I wasn't a pleasure to be around. My wife doesn't like drama, doesn't like conflict. She likes to talk things out. That doesn't mean she'll back away from conflict and avoid drama at any cost, only that she prefers to work things out calmly. So in the middle of my picking an argument with her, when I finally outright accused her of cheating, accused her of passing those kids off as mine, and demanded a paternity test, I did not expect her to come back at me as hot as she did. She said she had been waiting for the day I would throw this at her. She had not been blind or deaf to all my family had said and done over the years, and by allowing it, but she had hoped I had more trust in her than to listen to people who never approved of her, people who had nothing better to do with their lives but talk BS about everyone else. I don't know why but her saying those things pushed me over the edge. The argument grew and grew. I grabbed by the upper arm so hard I left bruises, and shook her. Her hand came up and slapped me right across the face. The police were called and I was made to leave the house. I went to my parents. A couple of days later I went home but the locks had been changed and my wife wasn't answering the door or picking up her phone. The following week she filed a petition for paternity of all my kids. 2 weeks later, the day after I was confirmed that they were my kids, I received divorce papers. It's been months. I've tried calling her, I have reached out through Facebook, tried intermediaries, I've written letters, but she refuses to engage. I've been told by her sister, who has been blocked by my wife, that she refuses to talk to anyone about me and is cutting out anyone who tries to bring me up. She doesn't care if they're family or friends. One word about me she cuts them out, blocks them. Her parents are the go-between these days, and only about the kids. They bring the kids to me whenever I ask for them. My wife won't allow me at the house, not even to pick up/drop off the kids, yet she doesn't try to stop me from seeing them. Her mom told me she didn't know if my wife would ever forgive me. She is deeply hurt and refuses to speak about me. I try to give them money for my kids every time I see them but they refuse it saying my wife doesn't want my money. A mutual friend has told me he thinks I broke her. He and his wife help her with the kids sometimes and he says the life has gone right out of her. I have leased an apartment a couple of blocks away from my wife and children and have had very low contact with my own family. Not that I blame them for what I did, but it's hard to be around them right now. They continue to blame my wife for all that's happened and take no accountability for any wrongdoings against her since my sons were born. My kids keep asking when I'm coming home and why mom cries all the time. I don't know what to tell them. I'm not looking for advice on how to save my marriage. It's too late for that. There is no getting around the fact I have destroyed my family. I miss my kids, I miss my wife. I wish I could take it all back but I can't. I've lost her.